Welcome to day 7. Day 6 was pretty successful because we ended up deploying the solution to GoDaddy, the Laravel and Vue solution. I was suspecting it might not happen, but then it was more of a cakewalk. So that was pretty much a successful day. Day 7 is going to be about listing the tutorials from my YouTube channel into the landing page as trending courses, and also then to integrate all of those courses in the courses section, which I'll be calling as tutorials because that is what majorly I'm creating in my YouTube channels. So that's going to be the focus for this. Maybe starting today, I'll be building the backend to start with, and then slowly move towards the integrating that to the front end. That's how the days are going to span right now. I don't know how many days it's going to take, but then yeah, at least we'll get started and see how it goes. I'll be predominantly using ChatGPT to build it. Because the episode, or at least the series, is all about understanding the capability of ChatGPT or generative AI in terms of building new features. I have a little bit of experience working with Laravel earlier, but Vue was pretty new. So I think this is where I like to see how well it is going to generate the right solutions for Vue. So without much delay, let's get started. Okay, let's start. So this is the section which we have already built, where we have all of this landing page and the footer, header, all of that is built. But then what we don't have right now is the important part, which is the courses section, which I'll be calling tutorial section. So here you have a couple of things like most popular courses and trending courses. These are the two things maybe I'll start building along with the maybe to start with the backend, and then we anyway need the listing section as part of courses. That is another API anyway, which I'll have to build. And then you also have the most popular courses, and then maybe trending courses. I think one of them is enough for me, maybe trending courses. And then maybe I'll have newly uploaded or something as something coming here. So those are the two sections maybe I'll build. So to start that, I'm going to ask ChatGPT directly about what my requirement is. I now want you to be giving me detailed instructions on how to integrate the tutorials, details instruction on how to integrate, maybe I'll just call it as YouTube videos of my channel. I wish to the Vue and Laravel website. I'll just call it as website. I would want, okay, let's see. Do I need to give any more instruction? I think let's start with this basic. Let's see what it generates. Integrating YouTube videos from your channel via into a Vue and Laravel website involves several steps. You need to fetch the data from YouTube using the YouTube data API, then display the videos on your site using Vue components. Here is how to do it in detail. So then create a project in Google Cloud Console. Google Cloud Console, create a new project or select an existing one. I think I already have one, so maybe I can just directly use that because I was also listing it in the previous website. Enable the YouTube data API. Okay, APIs and services dashboard. Enable APIs and services. Use the YouTube data version 3 of the API. Create the API keys. I think I'll have to hide a lot of information when I'm doing this tutorial because these are very sensitive information, but I'll be doing it, but maybe hiding a lot of information. But then details of what you need to do is already listed here. Store your YouTube API in your environment variable. Okay. Create a controller. Nice. So I need to fetch it using a controller and then use that to integrate to the route. I expose a route. Very good. So it's asking me to create a API to fetch that and show it. Display videos in the Vue component, which is like using the API itself. I'll have to do that. Make a fetch call. Okay, that is on the mounted. It's more like when the component is getting mounted is when you do that, the fetch call and response. Maybe I'll ask it to make it better than this. I don't really want the fetch call to happen from the component itself. Maybe it has to now give me better solutions. I think I'm happy with it, but then I want it to follow the best practices. Maybe I'll just ask, I want to follow the solid principles or something. I'm just gonna directly ask. So first thing is I want 3 APIs actually. So one should be maybe the tutorial section, which is one of the menu items, can be a paginated API response. So I want one thing as paginated, as in when I scroll, it should load more and more. Maybe that's what my tutorial section may be. Even I can think of having it segregated based on, let's say, different categories. That's something I can ask also. Then comes something like for the load landing page, latest 5 videos to be listed. Maybe I'll ask for an API for that, and then also the trending ones, which I can then define from my backend. So these are the things I'm going to ask. I need the following things to be taken care. So first thing is I want the tutorial section to have a paginated response, and I should be able to pass the limit and the offset myself, or just help me with the best practices of using paginated response, using pagination maybe. So specifically I'm asking it to give me the best practices. That is one part. Second one is I want one API endpoint to fetch all the trending videos in my channel. So that can be based on the number of views. And another one is I want one more API endpoint to display all the, maybe display the recently uploaded videos and not shorts, limited to max 10. Maybe I'll just ask for 10, then I can decide to show how many I want. And then also on the code which was generated earlier, on the code generation, please make sure to follow the best practices like solid, dry, etc. I don't know, everything maybe. Okay, I'll specify why. I am seeing the API fetches happening directly from the component, from the Vue component. So let's ask it, and then let's decide how it want to structure the code generation. So let's see. Requirement involve creating more sophisticated interactions with the YouTube data API and structuring your Laravel backend to serve paginated videos, fetching trending videos based on views, and ensure that recently uploaded videos are fetched correctly. We will also address best practices by moving the API integration logic to the Laravel backend, promoting a cleaner separation of concerns. Okay, paginated response for tutorials. Laravel makes it easier to create paginated responses with its built-in support for pagination. Although YouTube data API uses page token rather than a simple limit and offset, we can wrap this functionality to create a paginated response from your Laravel backend. Pretty good enough. And it just gives me some code. Create a method in YouTube controller to handle pagination. So this is the fetch tutorials one, which is having API key. We need to use the environment variable to get the API key, channel ID, which I will be anyway not showing you guys, and max results. I might limit it to 10, and then page token for navigating through pages. Okay, and URL, which is again, I think this might be the latest one, I'm hoping. Page snippet order, so it's already giving a paginated response. And then file get contents from the URL. I think that's how the API fetch is happening in Laravel. You just need to use file get content, or is that another function altogether? Maybe we'll have to see. And then data JSON decode is happening. A JSON response true return. I think it's not handling any failure cases, which is something we need to still ask. What if there is a failure? It's not handled. Fetching trending videos. YouTube API doesn't directly provide a trending endpoint for a specific channel, so trending could be based on combination of factors like view count, likes, etc. over a period. However, fetching videos based on view count involves fetching videos first, then using the video API to sort them by view count, which can be complex and rate limit intensive. As an alternative, consider manually tagging certain videos as featured. Okay, good one. I think we might have to okay, so it is asking me to go and tag myself so that it can fetch it. So I'll go ahead and do that. Maybe that's one of the ways of controlling it. It's a good suggestion. That's a good one. Recently uploaded videos with API endpoint. Adjust the fetch tutorials method to exclude shorts if possible by duration of another distinguishing features, and limit the fetch of 10 most recent uploads. YouTube doesn't distinguish that's a challenge then. Distinguish shorts in the request. You might have to filter the results based on the criteria that match shorts. Example, duration under a minute. There are some challenges, of course. Best practices: moving API fetch to Laravel. Moving API interactions to the Laravel backend and away from the Vue component directly is a good practice for several reasons. Security keeps your API key and business logic on the server. Okay, good. Maintainability centralizes the logic for fetching the processing data, making it easier to maintain and update. Performance allows for the implementation of caching strategies to reduce the load on external APIs and improve response times. Okay, it is, I think I just need to ask, okay, instead of fetching the data directly from YouTube, your Vue component will now make request to your Laravel application's endpoint. Fetch API YouTube tutorial limit page token some token. Okay, I don't know what happened here. Instead of fetching the data directly from YouTube, your viewer will now make a request to. So what was really happening earlier? This is fetch tutorials. This is tutorials, which is, I don't know, it confused me. Here it was fine. YouTube tutorials was fine. And then only thing I asked was to use the best practices for the front end. All I asked was to use the best practices on Vue front end. like make the like on mounted to do not use the API fetch. Instead, delegate it to a different layer. Let's ask. Ultimately, we might have to ask what is the best practices of to be followed on Vue to adhere to the best practices in Vue frontend, especially for managing API requests more cleanly and maintaining separation of concerns. You need to introduce a service layer. Okay, that is okay. So then I will have a JavaScript file. Maybe I'll now ask for a TypeScript too. Let's try out all the options. And then on fetch tutorials, then this tutorial, so it's the state handling is still within the Vue component. Is that how normally state handling should happen, or is it even possible to keep the states outside of the controller, or at least the Vue component? Is it not possible to handle the state outside of Vue? So it is saying it's possible. So using something called as a Vuex for state management, I think we need to then might have to use that. And then okay, it's similar to our Redux store in let's say Redux store in React, where it's called Vuex, and technically it's doing the same. It's creating a store using Vuex, create the store, and then state is here, mutations are here, actions are here. Mutations are wherever the set is, where it is in React it's more of a use state. Here it is called as state and mutations, where tutorial and set tutorials are kept within this. So maybe all the set will come within this, and all of those values are passed from here. There is also okay, and then you also have actions, where all the functions are within the actions. Fetch tutorials, it's clean. So I think this is what I think I'll be using. Maybe this, so maybe I'll spend most of today for evaluating what are the best practices for implementation, and then we go ahead and do that. So accessing store in components, use the Vue store in the component to dispatch actions or commit mutations. Okay, so this is more the dispatch kind of a thing, coming similar to how so okay, it's pretty much what is there. So it's very much relatable to Redux, where you have the store.dispatch function, which is what gets called, and then you update the store. The call gets the call comes here. Let's say dispatch, the fetch tutorials is getting here, it's getting called, whatever is there is within action. And computed, it's more the return values from tutorials is more like all the values which are there from the store. Here it is. Set is more or less used within this one, because I think as soon as the value comes back from the response, you are committing it to set tutorials, which might be an asynchronous way. It might be asynchronous. That means after the set is happening, if let's say there are multiple sets, similar to how it works in Redux, dispatch calls are asynchronous even there, and catch error handling is happening here. I think it's not. I think even we need to set something for error. Let's say I would ask it to even maintain a state for error cases, maybe for even loading. So maybe we can ask more and more, and then it might give us a good one. And I think it might even be possible then to then create a store for even, is that even possible for that each individual sections you can have a store where there in Redux you have reducers. So similar to a reducer, is it possible that we can have multiple reducers here and then maintain it so that it becomes easier to map it against a component or something? I think, okay, so there is something which I can reference, or at least I can relate with Redux. Then it becomes easier. So mounted, computed, these are the two places where the binding is happening. So tutorials is going to use the tutorials which is coming from the state, and mounted, good one. So I think there are a couple of ways I think you can do it. One is vuex is one way, and another one is create a store with Pinia. So define store using Pinia's define store function. I think this is another package. So Pinia, if you use, I think it more or less will be the same. Just that I think it's a little more cleaner, maybe, I don't know. Let's see, it's define store tutorials. So I think it can have individual stores. Maybe you'll have to ask a difference. Include Pinia in your application. Okay. And then create Pinia app.use mount accessing Pinia store in component. So you just need to then use @stores tutorials, use tutorial store, pretty much like how you use a hook in your or use store, use reducer or something, where you know which reducer, and then here it's more like a hook itself. Concepts are more or less the same. It's very easy to relate both. So on mounted is more like use effect in your React. So tutorial store, use tutorial store, tutorial store or fetch tutorial. I think this is more cleaner way of maintaining your store, I guess. Good one. And then the conclusion, both Vues and Pinia provide robust solutions for managing state externally in Vue application. Pinia, with its simpler API and Vue 3 compatibility, is becoming the preferred choice. So maybe I'll go with Pinia itself, where I did see it's little leaner and cleaner than the other one, Vuex. But these are the two ways I think you can do state handling in Vue, and I could really relate it with the React Redux store, which is the good part, that I will at least be able to understand if there are some at least some things are, if I can relate. Only thing I'm wondering, how will the state handling work comparatively in React? You had let's say in the use effect, if you pass, let's say, the dependencies, based on the dependencies what the use effect gets called, the side effects. So in this, I don't know how it's going to work in this case, because I have the here, if you see the mounted does not have any dependency. So how do we trigger, how does that even happen? We'll have to see all of that. Maybe it's a little different, maybe those we need to still understand. But yeah, it's a good start, I think. With this, let's get started. Let's write the first APIs which are needed. So I'll just ask generate the complete code for the following for the backend APIs. One, all the paginated tutorials from my channel. Two, all the trending videos, assuming I will add a tag called trending in my YouTube channel. Third one is to all the recent 10 videos. It's okay to fetch even shots. So I will only need the backend code to start with. Okay, so let's do that. To create a Laravel backend that fetches the data from your YouTube API, including paginated tutorials, trending videos, and the most recent 10 prerequisites, you have to have a YouTube API key for the channel ID, install the necessary packages. It's going to use Guzzle, HTTP Guzzle for making HTTP calls. Install the popular ones. Okay, that's fine. Set up your YouTube service. Create a service class in Laravel to encapsulate interactions with the YouTube API. Maybe I'll start with mocking before I really integrate. And then the services class is built. Constructor has the client ID, the client. This is coming from this is the Guzzler client. I think the API key is here, and then you have the fetch videos, create controller functions. So I think it's going to just use using the base URI, and then fetch paginated tutorials. Okay, that's good. Trending videos. Okay, this is complete generated code. Only thing I might have to ask is also handle the error scenarios. Error handling. Incorporate error handling in your YouTube service to manage. I don't consider caching. So let's ask, why should I be doing it? So please take care of the notes, final notes, which were shared in the code. Then let's see. Okay, it's refining now. This is good. So I need to create a youtube.php inside YouTube service. I think I'll also need to ask the structure of the code base, and where do I keep these. So YouTube service is getting created within app.services. So let's do that by the time this creates. So I'm gonna go to the app section, where you also have the HTTP controllers, middleware, everything. I'm gonna create something called as a services folder, new folder, and then let's create the required. Okay, it's completed creating. Looks like so service should be YouTube service.php. New file, YouTube service.php. That's the file, and then let's just copy paste the whole thing. It should be within the namespace of app.services. I think before that we also need to include Guzzle. Let's include that. It is added. Generating files. It's included using version 7.7.8. So it should be there in our package 2. Or is it Composer? Yeah, it is Composer. So Guzzle is also added 7.8. So I have Faker, Mockery, which are also for let's say for mocking, faking, and everything. So Guzzle is added. We don't have the API key yet, so it's going to anyway fail, but we will start integrating. At one point I'll just include API key too. So let's see. Oh, okay. Why is there no support for Laravel? Should the PHP files have at the top? So I think I should ask it. Yes, PHP file should start with PHP tag at the top. This tag single signals. But then why did you miss out? Closing tag should also be there, but it is optional. Avoid the usage of open tags because they are not enabled on all the servers. Consider me as a novice in PHP and Laravel. So generate every piece of code required going forward. So this is to ensure that does not assume something. Okay, it's going a little behind, and then it's okay. This was too much. Okay, this I did not realize. This is a good one. So this is one way of generating the code, which is, I think this is what we could have done. PHP artisan make service, and this would have created in turn a folder. So maybe we can still do it. I think let's delete, because I really want, because the command, one thing with the command is that it might even add the dependency at the right place, and sometimes when we are just adding a file we might miss that out. Let's do this. Copied. Make service command. By default you can either create a service file manually in the app service directory or make command a workaround. For simplicity, let's just create it. So okay, I will go ahead and use the command itself. I think it should then create. Where did it create? Let's see. Did not identify, so it did mislead me. It's not defined. Do you mean any of these? So I think it does not identify. And why does it not identify? Let's ask. Okay, should I be doing this? Laravel doesn't have a make service command by default. You can either create a service file manually. Okay, why did it even give that to me then? You create a service to encapsulate, first generate a service class. Note. So then I ended up deleting for no reason. Let's do it again then. Services. And copy the file name, YouTube service .php, and let's copy paste this service. I think now it has generated with the PHP file. This is good. So the syntax is visible. So Guzzler HTTP I think is identified, and controller will work. So we just need to create a controller called YouTube controller, which we can create. Let's go here, Control V, and then enter. It should create successfully. It should create the controller, YouTube controller, which is let's say inheriting or extending from controllers. And now let's add the code for a controller. Maybe directly copy pasting is the best option, where it is having a constructor, it is passing the YouTube service, fetching the paginated response, fetching the trending time videos, just fetching the recent videos. So let's do that. Copy this. Oops. I think I stopped everything. Control V. So pass the service constructor, fetch paginated tutorials, page token, request input page token, videos, this YouTube service, fetch videos. It is going to the YouTube service, fetching it. I think we already have the code for that. Here it is, where passing the parameters, API key, snippet, max results 10. This is for fetching the videos. So it's every time it's fetching 10 videos, giving the channel ID, array.merge, and get contents, response callback. I think it's still not handling the error scenarios which I had asked. Oh, we still might have to ask if there is, what if there is a error, it's not handled, so it will have to be generated again. Fetching trending videos, assuming, I think it just gave me the, I think I copied the old one, that's a problem. No, this is more the controller and this is the service. And what's the difference? I think we right now only have defined rules, which is more the routes, defined route, sorry. So for creating a route, I think it should give me routes api.php. It's directly adding to api.php. I think we should be already having that. So copy this. Let's go to the routes. Where is our routes? api.php routes. Where are the routes? Yeah, api.php, and then we just need to add the routes. I think some code is already there. There's a request. Only thing is that we need to call the controller usage and then add these 3 routes. I think we can already try. It should give us error, but that's still fine. Route.get YouTube tutorials, YouTube trending, YouTube recent, 3 functions, classes, YouTube controller, which is already existing. Fetch paginated tutorials, I think it should navigate. Fetch pretty fine, it is doing that. Fetch trending videos, which is the other one, and fetch recent videos. Only thing is it is not handling error. Set API for the channel, it should be in the env file. I'm going to just go ahead and do that. Maybe in the future, maybe later I'll change that, but in the env I'm going to add these 2 at the end. YouTube API, I will replace it once I find it, or at least go and find that, but at least now it should give me an error or that. Let's try this because I think we have implemented this. We need to try this. So it's a very simple implementation, looks like. So let's go back. Let me open Postman. So yeah, I have a lot of other ones. Maybe let's start a new one. Plan collection. Let's call it let's go easy. That's what I'm building. Add a new request. I think we need to see when we run it. It's not yet running, so I think we just need to run the PHP artisan because we just need the API to be tested to start. So it is already running. This is the endpoint. Let's go ahead. Hit it. Something is shown. I think it is the one where Laravel page will load. Okay, so how do we test it now? So what is the endpoint? How do I access the endpoint? Let's do that. So we have to see the route right now. So How does it work? Let's see. I'm not passing anything. It's giving me an error, not found. That means it's not found yet. It's not within or how do I run? Let's ask. I need information to test it right now. I did PHP artisan serve. How do I test the endpoints in, let's say, Postman? Straightforward, assuming this. Yeah, here's how you can test it. Open Postman, create a new collection. I did all of that. It's still considering me as a novice, so that's the reason it's giving me the end-to-end steps to do right now. So it's good. Hopefully it will not miss out. Okay, this is what I was missing. I don't know why. Okay, is this because it's in an API folder? How does it even understand that it's within an API folder? I have not appended anything. Is that one of the new changes in Laravel? Okay, this is good. So we have an error, exception, bad request. So let's see what's the right request. Trending, and repeat the process. Server not running. Make sure your Laravel development server is running. That's good. Check your Laravel logs. Ensure your env file contains the correct YouTube API key for the channel ID. And API is correctly set to respond to your request. So I think we are pretty good. I think we are sending it. We don't need to do nothing more than this. So steps are good. Now, if I just say tutorials, that should give me. So it's giving me an exception right now. So which we can see. Let's say even if let's say you run it here. Tutorials, client error get resulted in 400 bad request. So it's crashing here because there is no response, and that could be because query params are not there. I don't have API key or anything, so I think it should give me a proper error handling here. So this is what I get. I need this to be handled. That's what I'm gonna ask. I get this, but as I have not integrated with let's say page token, not page token, but what are the parameters which are needed? I think it needs YouTube channel ID, and then we are just passing the YouTube API key, which is not something I have passed. It's, I think, where is it used? It's passed as one of the key here, and channel ID. API key and channel ID I don't have, as I have not integrated with API and channel ID. I will be I have not integrated with YouTube and channel ID. I'll be doing that later, but I want to make sure that you handle error codes well in the generated code. See, not too bad. I think it has given me the right kind of instructions to get started, and it's already working because it's I'm not given it the YouTube API key and the channel ID, because of which it is failing right now. And why is it not generating anything right now? Did not generate. Give it again a try. Handling HTTP errors gracefully is crucial for maintaining. Yeah, I know that. That's what I'm asking you. To use try-catch blocks around the Gazelle HTTP. So let's start adding all of this. I think this is a better way of doing it. I think I'll go back and then get the API keys by then. So it's just added to try catch. That's what has really happened. So let me go ahead and add that myself for each section. I think it should be happening in this service. Yeah. YouTube service. First thing, it only has a fetch videos. I don't think I have the whole code, or is it just okay? Fetch videos. Start with the try catch. Try for this whole thing. I think I can ask it to be generated. No. No. Refactor. No refactoring. So let's do it. Try catch. And then move this inside the try. Catch, we need to understand what is there. Client. You can just copy these blocks. Catch 2. There is something called as error, which is it's not identifying, so maybe we'll have to import that. Facade logger. Also, there is a reference to client exception, which is coming from Gazelle exception, which also needs to be imported. Used. I think this should now give us the right error at least. So if let's say we run it now, tutorials, this is graceful. It's saying failed to fetch data from YouTube API code 400. So, but not 200. Okay. Error code. It's not handling the right error code. Should be handled well. It's not handled. Error code is not handled well. Even I think I also need to add a rate limit, because otherwise, anyway, YouTube will apply a rate limit. So my services will go down when there is a rate limit. So what is it generating now? Max results, response, get JSON encode, get contents, handle 400. Is it passing the error rightly? I think, yeah, the code it is getting and passing it. This was what was missing. Let's copy the whole stuff. Catch block. Now I think server exception, which is coming from again Gazelle HTTP. So if let's say we run it now, API key not valid, please pass a valid. Okay, why status is still 200? Okay, so that's not what I am not liking. Status shows 200. Okay for error also. I think it's not writing the well structured API responses. And then we can then ask it to be abstracted. But I'm hoping PHP has evolved, because I have used Dingo earlier as the framework for building APIs, which was a very good framework, but then they discontinued the support, after which I think Laravel itself is giving a good enough framework. Lumen anyways, the other one. So Laravel itself should be able to give us the right solution. Status code, response.json status code. Oh my god. Determine status code. Is it that difficult to pass a status code? The implementation is your API will more accurately communicate error conditions to clients, improving the robustness. I think this has to be abstracted because it is being added right now in the controller, but I don't want that to really be here because I need to reuse this for all the other cases. So I'll ask it, I will be using the same error codes in other controllers. Please abstract it out for use. Somewhere, if let's say you are a novice to programming, you will not even know whether these are the best practices or not, or even you might start missing out. Because I have some kind of experience building all of this, I know that steps are being missed out. And we should also make sure that it is REST APIs, so it has to follow the REST guidelines as well. So there are a lot of things which has to be asked. So now it's moving it to another HTTP handles API errors. I was hoping this will directly come as directly supported in Laravel. So I don't know whether it is this the right way of doing it, or it's just generating code. So we can ask, is Laravel not directly supporting creation of API endpoints with just configurations, where error handling should be taken care, where versioning should be taken care, throttling should be taken care? Let's ask. I think it's missing out a lot of information. Is Laravel not directly supporting all of all the things required for building API, like exception handling, pagination, error handling, not error handling, at least exception handling, pagination, error code handling, then throttling, rate limiting, not throttling, rate limiting, versioning, etc. Because I'll be surprised if it's still not there, because Laravel has evolved all these years. Laravel provides extensive support for building APIs, including exception handling, pagination, error code, rate limiting, versioning, and more. Laravel is a comprehensive framework that includes various built-in features that to streamline the development. Exception handling, handler.php, pagination, paginate, error code handling, out of the box converts them to proper responses. You can further customize. You can catch specific exception and return custom JSON responses with appropriate HTTP status codes. Yeah, that's what I was hoping. Rate limiting, throttle, okay. Rate limiting we can apply in the middleware. Versioning you can apply using a prefix. Transformation, yeah, this is the another one. Transform your response using a transformer. Authentication is single page application. Sanctum is what it is used. API testing. So I think it has a lot of things. Maybe for the time being, let's just build, and then maybe I'll refactor going ahead. I at least want these things, like at least apply versioning, rate limiting, error handling, pagination, exception handling by itself using a middleware or something. Can you integrate all the features supported by Laravel while building my APIs too? Several components and best practices. Below, I outline how to leverage prepare JSON response in the handler. Very good. This is one of the best practices. Like you can just create it once and then use it. Pagination is one part. Assuming videos is a model. For us, videos are not a model. It's coming back as a response. Middleware throttling. Maybe I don't need that at least now. Video resource. Use Laravel resource to transform your models into JSON responses. This is also something we can try out, which can abstract the responses coming from maybe the other one. Test fetch tutorials. Okay, it is also creating the test suite which is needed. Error and success code handling. Prefix version 1, YouTube controller versioning is also there. So I think generate the complete code required. In previously generated API endpoints. Use models and resources wherever required based on the response expected from YouTube. Okay, let's see. Let's go full-fledged. That's what I want to do. Given the requirements for integrating YouTube API response into Laravel, I will provide a comprehensive example. This example assumes you're working with a simplified representation of YouTube videos in your database and Laravel application. I think this is where we will start with. While deploying, we'll start with the SSH way of doing it. So this creates a video model schema. Do I need to migrate? I don't think so. Because why do I need to migrate my videos? I don't think so. I don't think it's just given me too much. So it's expecting that every video, I don't think I need to retain, or at least I need to save my videos to my database and caching. I don't want to store my videos in my database. Instead, I will rely on the response from YouTube API and maybe consider caching those. At least it gave me it knew the context, but still it provided me options to save some things. But again, there's no point in saving something if, let's say, somebody will not be able to replay it. Plus, these are going to be thumbnails. I don't want to even save those thumbnails. in my server side. So what does it say right now? If you prefer not to store data in the database and instead rely directly on the YouTube API responses, potentially with caching to improve, you can adjust the implementation, adjust the YouTube service, and utilize Laravel's caching, reduces the number of requests to YouTube API, speeding up response times for the user and helping manage the API quota limits, which is good. I don't want, this was a good suggestion, and this might cache it for 60 minutes. Good enough, I guess. Maybe we can even cache it for longer, because I'm not going to have more and more videos added on a day to day. So we can even cache it for 24 hours. So maybe I'll ask that to be modified. Let's see. So cache remember is added, which is a good step, I would say. Cache remember method is used to check if the requested data is already in the cache. If it is, cache data is returned. If not, the closure provided as the third argument, it is expected to fetch the data from YouTube API, and the result is stored in the cache for future requests. Good cache design. Cache key is crucial. Handling API quotas. Relying on caching is a good strategy to minimize hits to the YouTube API and stay within quota limits. Monitor your application usage to adjust cache lifetimes and API. This approach will allow you to dynamically fetch the cache YouTube's. Okay. Some part of at least performance will be taken care with this. So I'm just going to blindly copy this. Copy this. Still it missed out on the error handling. So you missed out on status code handling again. I want it to be handled on all failure statuses too. Some bit of irritation because of this, because it keeps missing things as soon as the context is changed. So let's see. Exception, again it's going to give me the previous one with the catch block. Client request happens, response error, throw a runtime exception, return data. So if it is thrown, it is caught here, then it's getting logged. Response body is generated. Error message. YouTube service, also there is a change. In your controller, update the methods to handle the status code returned by the YouTube service. Okay, so service itself is now responding with error, which is good. I am okay with that. Similar updates for, okay, why is it just not giving me the whole code? So let's copy one function, and then maybe it could be the same code, so maybe we can reuse. So go back to service. Oh, I don't have any more function than this. I think I need code for both of these. Generate code for both of these. Now it is exhaustive. YouTube controller fetching trending videos, fetching recent videos. Don't comment out. Okay, giving me the whole response. If response error is set, response code. I think it is, to an extent it is now abstracted. Okay, it just gave me two, it left out the other one. Okay, and what about the service code? This is the controller code. Is it directly fetching from, where is the service code? You missed out the service code. Hope it does not get irritated. And that will be then, if it gets irritated, that will be AI evolving from here. So fetch, so we have this fetch function in our controller, fetch recent videos. Let's modify these ones to start with. Assuming tags for filtering, trending is what? Okay, did I copy paste partly? Then yeah. Okay, fetch recent videos and this one. Two more added, and then it had also generated paginated response too. This, which is not here, but it had generated in the previous one. Yes, this one. This is sending request token. This is calling to the service. Let's pick up the service code as well. So this is the service code. Fetch videos. Copy pasting, it's the same code. Guzzle exception is missing again. Guzzle exception. These are not needed. Let's see, let's review the code. Request, query params, JSON response content, it just parses, decodes. If JSON last error, JSON error none, then it's, if there is no error, then it just passes and then sends it back. If not, it throws an exception which will be caught by the controller. If there is an exception, it is returned here. And then yeah, error handling is okay, and even it is, there is an error here, get response, undefined method get response, which is bad. Is this because we have something missing? I don't see. QU problem. Let's see. Why is it so? Or is just IntelliSense is wrong? Undefined method suggests an issue with the low exceptions. Guzzle exception. This arises because not all exception thrown by Guzzle has a get response method directly available. Okay. Request exception. So request exception is how it is being captured, and that leads to more changes. Request exception. Okay, I think the only change is here. So we just need to make this as request exception, then Guzzle exception. There is a Guzzle exception here, which gets you the get message. So get response does not exist. think the only change we need to do is maybe capture these three. Try, catch, hopefully the right place. This is the function service. Yeah, request exception has to be added. Import request exception. Only when we test it we'll get to know. So that's the reason it's good that we test with the failure cases. I think we have the controller function for fetch paginator tutorials. Then let's try test that one. API key not found. A lot of errors, which is fine. I think we got 2 errors already. This is directly coming from I think from our API itself, from Google, which is good. So the response is sent by Google in the service. If you go, you have the error message coming from Google exception using when you are fetching this. So at least the function failures are captured correctly, which is good. So we can use that to show services YouTube Google APIs.com. So first part of error handling is good enough, and then we also need to add the 2 other generated functions. So this is get fetch videos. Oh my god, don't tell me it missed out the code for these 2. Oh, it is actually using fetch videos itself. That's the reason. Fetch trending videos, again it is using fetch videos for the most popular. I think, okay, I was missing out then. So fetch recent videos, and these 2 I think we already added, but let's just make sure. Controller, fetch recent videos, fetch trending videos, fetch videos anyway was working. So we just copy paste, making sure it's the same code. I think it was the same code. And let's go to the controllers and ask for trending and recent too before we close this, and then we'll come back tomorrow where we'll start testing the right ones. I think it has to generate the right ones. Trending, which gives me error, yeah, and then recent. And let's say if I ask for top or something, it should give me a 404. It not found, which is correct. So all the APIs are working right now. That's only thing which is pending now is to point to the environment variables with the right API keys and the channel ID, which are the 2 things I'll be taking up tomorrow, because I think it's a longer episode today. I need to close this, come back tomorrow, get the token, and then maybe you'll start integrating with the front end. This is working pretty fine. So I think this is what pretty much I wanted to show today to start with. Longer episode, but at least we made progress. We have responses coming for the APIs, which is good. So API is working. We need to now see whether it's giving the right responses on all of that. And also I think it is already a cached response. Could we also need to check that, because I think we already have the code for caching if we are not missed out. Caching should be in your controller. Did we miss out that code again, or is it like in the I think it's missed out. Maybe you'll have to even see that, because whatever was generated was supposed to also have the cache. So where is that code? Array.merge. Let's just check that, and then we can close. Where is the cache code? and somewhere it was here. Where was it? That's the reason. Caching strategy, videos. Okay, it missed out, I think, again. So let's go ahead and add 4 hours for trending, add 60 minutes for fetch paginated response had. So these are all happening in the controller. So let's say how is it written right now? So maybe we can add this and then close. So my controller is like this. The responses are here. Maybe I'll just have to change it so that the cache is added. So here it was returning. I think we just need to copy paste this, but then again all of that other code is lost. But ideally what has to happen is this has to move inside there's no try catch here, so it's pretty okay, I guess. So we just need to move all of this inside the cache. That's it. So it's as simple as getting the videos like this. This was the part. Cache key is needed, so we need to pass that cache key. Then cache has to need to have an import too. Cache is the facade using illuminate support.facade, and that should be enough. And the page token too. I think this is one more thing, page token. A lot of things missed out. That's again, like I said, the irritating part for me every time that something or the other gets missed. So cache is what we respond with. I think this is what will then become the response. Or is it like videos? How do we even handle that now? Like this dot service fetch videos is giving me the response, which in this case is returned here. And that's actually the response, nothing but the response. So it's as simple as making it as response. I think we'll have to test it again. There are not much difference otherwise. Snippet, max results. I guess this is what will get cached. Response is getting cached. Use that and then do this. Let's try now, at least for this videos. YouTube, what is it? What was the earlier API call? Let's go back. API is tutorials. Try that. Response cached. I think not. The response is cached. I think we'll have to know how it is getting cached, but this is implemented right now. Cache is remembered. It should be whatever response is coming should be what it should be responding with here. So yeah, and even the 400 bad request, that's also fixed. So most of these things are working. I think that with that maybe we can conclude this one. I'll come back with the follow-up in a day or two, and then we'll continue from where we are leaving right now, where we will start integrating. First thing is to get the channel ID, then the key required, which I will just not show you, but then those two things will be kept already when I come back tomorrow. And then we will start integrating after seeing the response coming from my channel, start integrating to the front end. That's what is the plan for the coming days. That's pretty much from my side today. Stay subscribed, like and share this episode. I'm coming back with more soon. So until the next episode, it's bye from me.